So connecting to Allah, we're going to look at it from two different dimensions. One is the dimension of taqwa. Who knows what taqwa is? Yes, Rashida. Awareness. Mashallah, you can read English. Brilliant. So taqwa is awareness. It's the awareness of Allah. So there's different ways we can understand this, but like it's to know that Allah is watching you, and it's to kind of bring consciousness to a situation. So imagine like somebody is eating too much sugar. So now this person, he is going about his day, and he knows that he's not meant to eat too much sugar. The doctor advised him yesterday that he needs to stop eating sugar. And he goes through his life and he said, I'm not going to eat any more sugar. And then the inevitable moment living in this country happens where he is faced with the opportunity of eating sugar. So you've got something in front of him which is sweet. So now he knows he's not meant to eat it. But as per habit, what would a normal human being do? Eat it.
Yeah.
So taqwa in this scenario would be for him to apply consciousness to the situation. So to actually think about it, like I have a body which is deteriorating, and the doctors told me that you need to stop eating this thing and it's not good for you. Like I need to look after my body. This is a gift which I have from Allah. So if you can apply that consciousness to this action of whether or not you eat the sweet things, that's taqwa in action. So you can apply taqwa to anything. So imagine when we pray, for example. So we might decide that we're going to pray salah, but we're not going to concentrate. It's too much effort. So we're just going to daydream and watch films or whatever. Whatever happens in our minds when we pray, we're going to allow it to happen. So now what happens is possible that we're praying and then we think, oh, I need to concentrate in salah, and then we're like, oh, I need to concentrate, and then we start thinking about how we're going to concentrate, and then we make like a plan on concentrating, which is good, but try and remember that this moment of realization is your taqwa, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your awareness of Allah. You're there dreaming about whatever you want to, but then suddenly you realize that, oh, I need to reconnect. So we should be very grateful for this moment of taqwa which we have. We know when we actually realize, rather than telling ourselves, oh, you've done it again, you've gone off again, you can't concentrate. But instead of doing that, if we actually like allow ourselves to learn from that situation, that right now I was faced with a chance to carry on daydreaming, but I've managed to actually realize that I need to stop daydreaming. And then we can slowly bring our awareness back to whatever we're meant to be reading. So that's this is one dimension of a connection to Allah. So imagine a connection to Allah is like this thing. And one of the ways that we can kind of perceive it, one of the energies that we can take from it, is this awareness of Allah, knowing that Allah is with us. And a connection to Allah, as we know, it applies 24/7. It's not like just for certain salahs. Yeah. So we're always connected to Allah, and then this kind of, we're able to build this connection by the spiritual practices that we have. Okay? So Islamically, we have so many things in our lives, and the sole purpose of that is to build a dimension of our connection to Allah. So, for example, what's the point of Ramadan? Allah mentions it in the Quran. Who knows? Taqwa. Yeah? So Allah mentioned that the reason you fast is so that you can get taqwa. So that's one of the reasons that we actually fast. So that you're going through the day, normally you just eat and drink whatever you feel like and do something else whatever you feel like. But now you have to actually control yourself in all three of these categories. So when you have to control yourself, you're like, okay, shall I just eat this and know, oh, Allah is watching me. So we have to apply consciousness here. When we pray salah and we're not concentrating, we have to bring some taqwa. And taqwa is like, at first, it's actually very painful. Because you're changing what you normally do. You're changing what's normal. If it's normal for you to say Allah Akbar and then start daydreaming, now to stop daydreaming is going to be very difficult. It's against our habit. So when we first do it, it's going to be really painful. When we do it a second time, it's going to be really painful. And when we keep doing this, at first it's going to be painful, but taqwa is amazing. If we think of the sugar example, if somebody manages to bring consciousness to the situation and thinks, I shouldn't eat sugar, it's bad for my body, and then he stops. And then next time he does it again, next time he does it, and then within a couple of weeks he will realize that his health will become better, believe it or not. So when his health becomes better, he's going to see the benefit of his taqwa. He's going to exercise taqwa. He's going to say, I'm not going to eat this. Or for another example, when we're praying, instead of just dreaming, we actually think, I'm going to try and keep my attention on Surah Fatiha. So we're trying to keep our attention here. When we're making dua, we're going to actually try and stay in touch with Allah. So when we try and actually make an intention to do these things, when we make it definite that we do these things, we notice that these things will start to happen in our lives. Yeah. So when we are able to control ourselves, and then we start concentrating, we'll notice that within a week or within a month, we're now concentrating for the whole duration of Surah Fatiha. Then you realize the effect that has on your life, on your connection to Allah. And everything will start to change because of that. So now we see that, and then we start believing in taqwa. Now we're actually able to do what we need to. So that's one dimension of looking at a connection to Allah. Yeah, from a taqwa perspective, from a kind of controlling yourself perspective. It's self-discipline. You don't want to do that. You don't want to concentrate when praying salah. Or some of you probably do. But I mean, you might not want to. And it's hard, and it's difficult, and it's a bit painful. But when we get through it, it has this effect at the end that when we're able to practice it, we become good at practicing it. We become good at using it to our advantage. We'll actually start learning that when we start feeling the pain of taqwa, and when we're able to experience taqwa, that's actually a sign of where we're going to really progress very quickly. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. So there's two dimensions we're going to look at connecting to Allah from. One of them is taqwa, and the second one? Tawakkul. So tawakkul, what does that mean?